Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast, a surprise Star Wars Stuff podcast. My name is David.
And my name is James, and here we talk about all things Star Wars. Are we gonna just do what we normally do, or should we just do we have or so should we thank the patrons? Is what I mean to say. Should we thank them?
When is it not a time to thank the
Fair
patrons?
enough. Fair. Okay, let's thank the patrons.
Thank you to all of our top tier Patreon supporters out there, starting with Liam McCallan, Kevin Leininger, Deb McCaffrey, Zach Netzel, Maya Morris, Adam Haber, Front Row King, Cam from Indiana, Mariana Tia Arnold, Arrest Jedi 27, Alex Blundell, and Indiana Solo. Thank you so much for your awesome love and support out there. Also, if you're looking for a lightsaber, go check out legionsabers.com. Use the code STUFF at checkout for 15% off all the lightsabers, all the accessories. So check them out. They're awesome. Great
and
stuff.
if you want a lightsaber that has Super Mario sound effects, this is the one to get. All right. Or if you're looking for a lightsaber that also can sound like a pod racer, this is the one to get. There was like 1,000 other sounds you can make it do. I remember.
You can make it do anything, everything. I mean, I can just imagine the sounds that you can make the lightsabers do. So, yeah, your own creativity and imagination is the limit. So,
man, and you can change the color of the blade. I know we're going off about. You can change the color of the blade every single time, right?
Yeah,
that's awesome
for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. Really cool. Charges via USB-C. You can use a cable you already have for your phone. I don't know if that's recommended, but that's kind of what I do. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of tell everyone what the podcast is all about. It's just pretty much just like Star Wars hang. We're just going to talk about random stuff. There are a few news items that I think we're going to touch on first before we get into our official Star Wars hang. So everybody out there watching us live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, send in a comment, a question. If you have like a trivia question, if you want to try and stump me and James, go for it. I know right now, I'm not sure at this exact moment, but in Atlanta, Georgia right now, Dragon Con is happening. And I know there's a really big trivia contest that a lot of people sign up for, and they whittle it down to like a very small panel of I think maybe 4 or 2 people for the finals or whatever. Yeah, it gets pretty intense. I would like to try it. I don't think I have a deep knowledge of trivia. There's some wild questions out there, guys. It's like, who's the manufacturer of the ship that Dengar used in Legends in this chapter, this page? It's like, come on.
People know engines. People know the engine names.
The engine manufacturers, the engine names.
I'm like,
maybe serial numbers. Yeah, that's insane. So yeah, if you're watching us, type in a comment, a question, let us know something. And yeah, we're gonna talk about some news first, and then me and James are just gonna go back and forth with our own questions to each other. So okay, the first thing, the big thing that everyone's talking about, our last podcast was entitled Star Wars Starfighter. Okay, we all know that's going to come out. We all know D23's happening. The big question is Ryan Gosling, Sean Levy, or any of the new cast, Amy Adams, or any one of those people going to show up? So they just started shooting. It is now in production. They're overseas, but I know Marvel does this all the time for Hall H. And it's kind of a big deal when that happens. I remember a long time ago, this galaxy, not so far away, James Gunn brought the entire cast of Guardians of the Galaxy, the very first Guardians of the Galaxy. They had only been shooting for 2 weeks, brought them to Hall H in San Diego from England, and he had a really decent sizzle reel somehow. And it was great. It was awesome. And they do a thing at Hall H where they will bring on actors from productions from far away. They'll act like they're not there. They did it, I think, a year ago with Fantastic Four, where they brought out the director first, made it seem like the cast was there. Then they brought out Pedro Pascal and everyone else that's in that cast. Evan Moss-Baccarat, another Star Wars alum, which was cool to see him. So the question is the cast of Starfighter going to show up to D23? You shook your head no, James. You say no way, no how. Why?
only because if production had been going for about a couple of weeks, I would have said maybe. But the fact that they literally just started production, there's no way they're going to start 2 or 3 days and say, okay, go home, and then you're going to come back Monday, or you're going to come back on Tuesday. Like for me, it just feels that's crazy for them to do. I could see them sitting in a video or something saying hello, or we're in production right now. But
Yeah.
them actually being here this early in production, I say no.
Okay. Okay. I think they will be there. I think they'll all
Okay.
be there. Yeah. I think Disney, it feels like there's a real big push for D23 and for people to attend, people to get hyped, for people like us wanting to go, even though it kind of like went under the covers there for me and you. I think we had
Yeah,
no, and it's
I
like down the
forgot.
street from you.
Yeah, it's about
Essentially.
30 minutes south of me, and yeah.
Yeah. So I think that there's going to be a little bit more than a video. Maybe I should say that. Maybe not the entire cast. They are shooting in the UK. So the big thing is Atlanta, Georgia, their governance has changed. So there's not as big tax breaks for productions, for movie productions. So everyone's now in the UK. The UK has given everyone big tax breaks again, I guess, because they realize they got the historic Pinewood, the new Pinewood, huge sound stages for every major production to shoot. Star Wars has a lot of roots there. And I believe, yeah, Starfighter is happening there. And they're recording there, along with Avengers Doomsday. That's happening there as
Ooh.
well. So maybe there's like crossover. Maybe they visit each other at like craft service or something.
Yeah.
So there are rumors about Starfighter. So the
Already.
rumors that, and I think these are older rumors. We just didn't hear them for whatever reason. I don't know. We're usually pretty good about it, but apparently the rumor is, if you don't want to get spoiled, just fast forward like 2 minutes or so.
Or mute it for right now if you're watching live.
Yeah, mute it right now if you're watching. Yeah. Apparently Amy Adams is the mother to the boy that we saw on the production still. So I think I still have that picture. So yeah, it's right here. So Amy Adams, rumored to be the mother of Flynn Gray, I believe his name is, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And that would technically make Ryan Gosling his uncle. So it's an uncle and nephew story potentially. What do you think about that?
Interesting. Still makes me think Amy Adams is not going to make it through the whole movie.
She's going to be Shmi Skywalker.
She's going to be, or she's going to get killed somehow, and they're going to have like that's like the story, the vengeance of who killed the mother, or they're coming after her and the boy. So it does. That's a good plot right there. There's somebody involved, and they get hunted down. They kill her. The uncle is the only one who can take him in, and he has to help get him to safety.
Right. So instead of Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen dying, Uncle Owen survives.
Yes, Uncle Owen strikes back, and that's terrible. But I mean, mind you, everybody, this is a rumor. Yeah, it says Amy Adams is the mother, Ryan Gosling's the uncle. Could be anything, but it's kind of fun to already have rumors about the plot. You know what I mean? Like we're already getting excited for this thing that's coming out in 2 years. So
yeah,
I guarantee you we're going to hear way more crazy rumors about this movie. So
yeah. And you would figure some of the comedic actors that are on here will probably be droids. I know that's kind of a cliche, but yeah, the comedic actors.
Man, if Rey shows up, I think that's going to be really good for everybody. I know we said it the other day, but if she shows up, that would be very, very good for this movie, in my opinion.
Do you think they're going to age her up?
I think they'll give her a little bit. They would give her just ever so slight, maybe a little bit of makeup, maybe like a wrinkle under the eye or something, and maybe like some gray in the hair. But that's about it. I don't think they're not gonna do like prosthetics or anything on her. So
Damon Lindelof wanted to age her up to like 80. Wanted to make Rey Helen Mirren.
Oh wow, That would have been a good movie too. Just saying.
Yeah,
But
that would have been something.
yeah. But yeah, so that's our rumor from Starfighter.
Yeah.
We'll see. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully next year for Mando and Grogu, we get a teaser trailer. Like that would just be great if we got a teaser trailer for Starfighter.
Makes all the sense in the world.
It does. It really does make a lot of sense to do that, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the rumors. But today is a very special day for the podcast.
You're gonna make me cry. All right, hold on.
So I want to say it was like 8 years. Was it 8 years? To
8
this
years
day,
Mm-hmm.
James and I met in a Target in New Braunfels, Texas, and there we are.
That's that's the first picture we ever took together. Was this picture?
And Ray's right behind the background.
And yeah, Ray's back there. Yep.
And yeah, as you can tell, it's the Last Jedi Target Force Friday, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're all Star Wars out. So I've told the story a million times. Fresh off of coming from Celebration from Orlando, I still had the Celebration spirit. And I knew there was going to be Star Wars fans inside that Target gathering, and I was like, maybe I can make some more friends. So I was the first person in line, and of course they gave away the Porgs, I believe, this Force Friday. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna be there on a mission to make friends, Star Wars friends. And I turn around to the second guy in line. And I start making small talk with him, and we're talking about Star Wars, and I'm trying to get him to like talk a little bit more. He seemed a little reserved, and he seemed like he didn't want to talk. So I was like, okay, well, I'll talk to the next person. The next person was James. I saw his shirt, and I was like, hey, not thinking that you really went to Star Wars Celebration. Because I mean, it's like, how many people are you just going to run into at New Braunfels Target?
Mm-hmm.
And they actually went Celebration. So I was like, hey, you went to Celebration, huh? And you're like, yes, we did. And you were there with your wife. And I was like, cool. Did you go to the 40th anniversary panel? And you were like, I sure did. I was like, oh, cool. You must have spent the night there. What banner did you sleep under? And you said the General Grievous banner. And I'm like, the General Grievous banner? I slept under that banner. And then for some reason, my brain like went immediate to the picture that I took of the crowd. And I was like, okay, well, immediately know if he's telling the truth or not if I pull up that picture. I pull up the picture and I said, find yourself in this picture. And James goes, there I am. And I'm like, yeah, right. I look at it and I look at him and I look at it. He's like, yeah, that my wife is right next to me. And I look at his wife and I look at her and I look at the picture. I'm like, you were there. We never met. And we lived just a city away. And I was like, how is that even possible, man?
It doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of things, a lot of stars that had to align for this to happen. And it's the probability is pretty crazy. Yeah. Oh, hey, Joseph, thank you for joining us. But yeah, so that's where we met. Because the reason David knew I was from Celebration because I had my shirt, my Last Jedi shirt, and on the side it said Star Wars Celebration, Florida or Orlando. And so that was when David was like, "Oh my gosh, you actually went." I was like, "Yeah, of course." And yeah, we exchanged numbers. We became friends. We texted.
And I was surprised by that, James, because when he gave me your phone number, I was like, this dude don't even know who I am. I'm like, yeah, we can talk Star Wars. And I don't think I really remember exactly the way it went down. Did you ask for my number, or did I say, hey, let's call each other or text each other? Or was it Nicole that was like, why don't you give that guy your number so you can talk to him about Star Wars instead of talking to me all the time?
I think it had to do with sending the pictures.
Oh,
I think because we took pictures of each other because it was like, oh my gosh, you were in
that makes sense.
Florida. So we took pictures and we exchanged numbers to send them because I don't think airdropping wasn't working. Something went wrong, so we did it this way. And then I remember that day because we were texting throughout the day because we were both looking for Star Wars things throughout the day as well.
Ah,
So
okay.
you texted me like, "Oh, I got this," and I texted you, "I got the R2D2." And I think you were looking for Poe's helmet, I remember. So that's what we talked about at first. And yeah. And then a couple of months later, I said, "Hey, you want to start a podcast?" And which is the equivalent back in the 90s, want to join a band. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
yep, and that was it. And here we are, Star Wars Stuff Podcast, still
Yeah.
going strong after 8 years.
Man, that is wild.
Not
Super wild, man. I never thought I'd be doing this.
me
But
neither.
I mean, growing up as a fan of pop culture and cinema and Star Wars and anything that's great, um, I mean, I got married early, I had kids young, and I mean, it was still there by the time my kids got older. Um, I just felt like I had to be involved. I had to do something, man. I just couldn't be, because every time I would go to watch a movie, like a Marvel movie or something, sometimes I just go alone. And if my friends that I have that live close to me couldn't go, I just go alone. And I would hear people talking about stuff. It's like, man, I want to join that conversation so bad. But I would just like leave thinking like, I have to be involved somehow, some way from where I live here in South Texas. So essentially, this is how I got involved is the podcast, because I don't really talk Star Wars with anyone other than when I talk about it on the podcast. No one around me. My town's so small, they have no idea what I'm talking about, man. Like no one has any clue. They don't want to talk about Star Wars. They want to talk about everything else, and it's a little frustrating. And I'm just like, well, I mean, I got the podcast, I can talk there. So yeah, and I mean the Star Wars fans like you and me, we are a certain like breed, and we have our bubble, and we could just talk about stuff when we know what each other are talking about. And same thing, I think, with the listeners. When people listen to us, they know what we're talking about because they're usually seeking out a Star Wars podcast, and I think they see our name, see the logo, and say, "Yeah, I'm gonna listen and see what they say." And I love breaking news ever since my childhood, watching Entertainment Tonight on cable or over the air or whatever. That was the internet for me, but it was appointment viewing. You know, I never set my VCR to record it, but I always made sure, I always tried super hard to be in front of the TV. I think it was what, like 6:30, like after the 6 o'clock news, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
and
music will
Mary
start.
Hart and John Tesh, and it was awesome, man. I recorded the Phantom Menace trailer. That's the first place I saw it, was on Entertainment Tonight. And
Wow.
like for like 2 weeks straight, what I would do was I'd put the VHS in, or it was just left in there, and I would watch it over and over
Man.
and over and over again before school. Then I'd go to school, then I'd get on our T1 line, and I would go to theforce.net and look up all the stories and stuff, and go to starwars.com, and George Lucas would do a photo every Tuesday, just like a random pic.
Wow.
And you had to be a member of like Hyperspace or whatever. And I was a member and I had access to it. And I think you get early access, I believe. And I remember there's one photo of Anakin just running. It was like for episode 2. And then a photo of like a black background with Shaak Ti with just like this part of her face showing.
Oh, yeah, I
So
remember
she
that.
didn't even look like a Togruta. She just looked like
It looked like
just some type of alien. Maybe she had like her
she
like
had the
her head
headpiece.
tails off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that was a very talked about picture because it was an
Right.
interesting. Yeah. Anyway,
Right. She had a black, solid black eye. So yeah, I mean, this is how I kind of got involved in all of this, and why I kind of do it, because it's opened some doors, unconventionally, I want to say, but I've made a lot of cool friends. I've made a lot of cool friends, acquaintances. It's wild to see people in real life that you only see on a screen. That's For me and you, it's the reverse. We met each other in real life, and now we see each other on the screen.
Yeah.
But like other people who do Star Wars, talk about Star Wars, we run into them. Like whenever we go to Celebration or Rebel Scum Con or Space Con, they're all there, and it's like, wow, it's a very interesting thing for me personally because I grew up in a small town, and I think that's what's affected my brain to see these people and then to see the actual actors and to talk to them. And it's like, man, if I were to tell my 10-year-old self everything that I did as an adult, I wouldn't believe myself, first of all. And I don't know what else. I mean, what would my 10-year-old self think? It would just, my 10-year-old self would think it was simply just a lie and not possible. Because when I was a kid, you couldn't get that close to celebrities. They never came to South Texas, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like the Chicano celebrities.
Yeah, we see them.
And
They're
George
always there.
Strait.
I think I saw. Yeah, I think every young.
And Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, every
Nolan
young.
Ryan actually owns a home, or he used to own a home on Lake McQueenie.
Really?
Yeah, and he cut his toe severely water skiing.
Jeez.
And he autographed his X-ray, and I have it. Yeah, that's kind of wild.
That is a story, man. That is.
Yeah. I think my aunt got it for me.
Oh, okay. I thought you went and asked him for the X-ray, and he.
Or maybe I'm confusing multiple stories.
Maybe
because I have family in Dallas that are X-ray technicians, and maybe I got the no. Okay, yeah, I'm mixing up stories. So the thing that I got is just super sad. Was not the actual $5 bill, but a copy of the $5 bill that Nolan Ryan signed.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. That is
so yeah, that's what I got.
You got a copy of an autograph?
Yeah.
You didn't frame it, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're like, it's still framed.
I don't know where it's at. I don't know if we took it out of the frame to frame.
That's insane. That's insane.
But I mean, Nolan Ryan as a kid in the 90s was a big deal.
Yeah. That was like everything. Yeah. Man, growing up in South Texas was a whole experience. And you and I, weirdly enough, we both grew up in a South Texas small town.
You grew up in a smaller town than me, but it seems like you had more like movie friends than I did.
Yeah,
or was it not until college?
It wasn't until after college is when I really got my movie friends.
Okay.
In high school, there was a few people who liked movies, but when it came to Star Wars, it was me and like one other person, and it was just the two of us. We never talked to each other, which was it. We were friends, but we weren't like close friends. And she really liked Star Wars too, and that was about it. I was the weird kid always talking about Star Wars.
Really, you're talking about Star Wars?
Yep, I know. Isn't that shocking? And you know how you said when you recorded the episode 1 trailer from Entertainment Tonight, I recorded the episode 3 trailer from the OC, that show from 2005.
Yeah,
and I would watch that trailer every morning, the Revenge of the Sith trailer. I'd watch it every morning before I go to school, and I'd watch it every day I'd come home from school because I just needed to see those images. I needed to understand. I just needed everything I could about that movie.
When the Attack of the Clones trailer came out, I was working at Hastings.
Nice.
And I don't know why I didn't ask for off, but I probably should have. But we had TVs.
Oh no.
And I was able to switch it to Fox. And right as the trailer was about to air, I was a cashier, and someone came up to me and had to like all these questions and stuff.
You're like,
and I was just trying to watch the TV. And it ended. I saw like I got a few glimpses up there. It ended, and I was like, please show it again. And they didn't. And I think it was like an OC type thing. So, yeah.
I saw Attack of the Clones trailer when I watched Ice Age. So the opening day of Ice Age, my older brother takes us to go watch the first showing of Ice Age. And he leaves the theater, then he comes back and he goes, I got a surprise for you. Like, just wait. And I was like, all right. And then the 20th Century Fox logo comes up, and then you hear that that beat from Return of the Jedi when Luke's walking the plank, that bump, 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 and then it said Lucasfilm, and my brothers and I, my brother looked at me, my other brother and I, we started like hitting each other like, this is it, this is Attack of the Clones, and oh, it was so cool. Because if I'm not mistaken, the ending of that trailer was the shot of the arena of the Jedi in a circle. And it was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna be fighting. Like we're gonna see them out fighting. And then oh man, that was everything. Like that was so cool. Like that was such a cool experience to watch that trailer. I remember.
Yeah, Joseph Floyd on YouTube, he says Star Wars fans become great friends later and don't remember how it happened.
I always just say it's because of Star Wars. Like it's because like you it's the Force. You meet somebody, then you start talking about Star Wars, and then before you realize it, you've been talking for like 30 minutes about Star Wars. I talked to an actor whom I really, really like on a set, and we started talking about Star Wars, and it was so cool. And then I looked around. I was just a production assistant on this gig. I wasn't, and I'm like, man, this dude and we've been talking for like 25 minutes about Star Wars right now, and there's no one else around. It felt so surreal. And he told me something interesting. Empire Strikes Back, there was a shirt you had to wear to a theater, and the shirt was the ticket because it was like a unique shirt for that theater. And if you had it on, that was your ticket to get into the movie. And
Interesting.
I thought that was really, really. I forget what state he said, but that's how they did it at that theater. But yeah, Joseph, you're right. Once you meet somebody and you start talking about Star Wars, that's it. That's how Joseph, our other host, that's how he and I met. We started talking about Star Wars one day, and I was like, "Whoa, you are a huge nerd," and it made the time go by much quicker because he and I would talk about it when any chance we got, and it's fun. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, right at the moment I had a cough. Yeah, and the experience I had, I know I've talked about this on prior podcasts, but I think we have some new listeners here. When I was dating a girl, she kind of poked fun at me a little bit in front of her family and said, David's a Star Wars fan. And then they all just kind of like turned their head and were like, really? Okay. And then they started like doing like all the jokes about Star Wars. I forgot exactly what they said. But then at the end of all of it, after I felt like, yeah, they think Star Wars is ridiculous and not worth it. They were like, can we borrow the videos? And I'm like, you just like kind of made fun of Star Wars. And they're like, yeah, but can we borrow the VHSs? You said you have them, right? And I was like, yeah, I got them. And they were the gold box, the widescreen.
Oh, okay.
And I said, yeah, sure. And once I let them borrow them, I was like regretting it. I should have probably just said no or made something up because those are like prized possessions, And I've gone through situations where I let someone borrow something and I never get it back or I get it returned damaged, because a lot of people don't care. But I did get them back. I think they were a little like damaged on the corners, but I was like, sure, whatever. I got into their good graces. And I think Zach from Japan, I'm guessing, YouTube user says, and then he married her. No, I did not. I did not marry her. No, that was a thing that did not happen. But I mean, I got the VHSs back. And then of course episode 1 was about to hit. And when I went inside that theater, everybody from town was there.
What?
And I was like,
you all like Star Wars?
You guys aren't Star Wars fans. What are y'all doing here at midnight? And like I saw like elderly people there. So like grandma and grandpa were there. Teachers from school were there. Friends that never even spoken an ounce or like a bit of Star Wars to me looked like they were so hyped up. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I'll never forget one of my classmates I sat next to in a math class. I can't remember, but it was in high school. And just super bored. I just asked him, Star Wars or Star Trek? And he goes, Star Wars, of course, without missing a beat. And I'm like, really? I'm like, why? And then he started giving me all the reasons why. And I'm like, okay. And then I think at that point, I I kind of, I mean, I knew Star Wars was big. It was one of the biggest franchises ever, if not the biggest. But I kind of got the idea of the the what's the word I want to use here? The saturation that Star Wars had in families and households. And I started to kind of realize that, like, yeah, everyone either has seen Star Wars or has someone in their family that has seen it and is an above average fan of it. And that's what it felt like then on out. And of course, it was kind of before what the internet is. I guess it was in 1996 when I had this conversation. And it was even before the special editions came out. So once I came to that realization, I was like, man, it really did strike a chord and connect with so many people. It connects with humanity. And then somebody did this school project. I'll never forget it. I should have just took it home with me. But somebody broke down Star Wars, like really broke it down.
Oh.
Because I think up to that point, it was kind of one of those things where Star Wars was, it was like super revered by a lot of people. And then, of course, when I discovered that all these people loved it and they just really didn't want to talk about it, just kind of realizing that Star Wars had so much depth to it that I had never tried to explore, that there was more to it than just like the action and the laser swords and the Force and that stuff, that there was actually connection to the real world. And this person, I don't know who did this project, but I remember they had Vader and Luke, like the silhouettes with the red and the blue lightsabers clashing like on The Empire Strikes Back. And it was incredible, man. I read it and I was like, wow, I never thought of that way. And I was like, man, does every movie have like a deeper meaning and like deeper connections? I mean, you would say so, right? I mean, there's obviously like a surface layer when people make action movies, but there's usually, I want to say 99% of the time, there is subtext. There is a story that's underneath the story that's being told straight to your face. Yeah. So Zach, I think here says more than meets the eye. And that's when I started learning about like different religions, like Buddhism and everything that George Lucas pulled from, like Kurosawa. And I was like, whoa, there's like a whole nother thing to it, because it's that thing when you grow up and you rely on your parents for everything, teaching you what the world is.
Yeah.
And then you realize your parents don't know most of the world. And it's like, what? And you got to kind of start figuring out things for yourself. And with my parents, I mean, I had Mexican American parents. They spoke Spanish, they spoke English, and I think maybe Spanish was their better language, but they spoke really good English. And of course, they had that upbringing of kind of a Mexican heritage and the American heritage that started with them because they were first generation. I'm second generation American. So they didn't have a lot to relate to as far as like movies and cinema. So yeah, that was pretty much my upbringing. So
nice.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks for listening.
You want to see something crazy?
Talk. Yeah. That's awesome.
Isn't that, and then you know what else? Hold on.
That's not it.
Look at that.
Wow. Do you have the episode 3 VHS?
Dude, I wish. I want that so bad. But guess what? These are my favorites though.
Yeah, I have. My wife found those at a garage sale.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it, man. These are so great.
Yeah.
And no, like he hadn't done the mix yet, the THX Skywalker sound mix, and yeah. Oh, what's that say?
You gonna read that Spanish there, James?
You do not want me to read that in Spanish because I will totally butcher that and sound terrible. So
I will
please
sound terrible too, but I'll try and attempt it.
translate
So,
it.
friendly neighborhood row on X says, "Que onda Star Wars fans?"
Something about Star Wars fans and
So,
what?
so he's saying, "What's up, Star
Oh,
Wars fans?"
hello.
So yeah,
Hello.
my parents. I grew up with my parents speaking Spanish to me all the time, and I just answer in English. And they didn't really encourage me to learn Spanish. And I also went to a Spanish church, so I kind of understand it, but I really don't try and speak it as much because I mean, most of my friends don't speak Spanish really, and James is one of them. James
Yeah.
is one of the bigger ones. But doing pizza delivery on the side, we will get only Spanish speakers, and I'll attempt it, man. I'll really try hard, and sometimes it's successful, and sometimes it's just we have like someone else from a Spanish speaking country come up and help. But yeah, my brother, he grew up in the same situation, 15 years older than me. He speaks really good Spanish now, but it's because he had to learn it for a job. And it's Venezuelan Spanish.
I don't even know what that means, but it sounds more
it's a totally different dialect from like Mexico and Spain and
Tex-Mex.
Yeah, then of course there's like different dialects in different parts of Mexico and Spain too. So it's interesting. It's not the Ben Affleck Spanish.
Which is crazy Spanish, by the way. He just
crazy good Spanish.
He's just fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, I know the big joke is he sounds better in Spanish than J-Lo does, which is hilarious.
It's not a joke, it's real. But, I'm kind of this. I know we're gonna talk about Star Wars here in a bit, I promise. But yeah, like my mom and dad, their first language was Spanish, and then when my older brother was born, my dad said we're not gonna teach the kids Spanish, and so I didn't grow up learning Spanish. My parents would speak it, but to each other, but it was mostly it was all English. Just very very occasionally they would speak Spanish to each other. So I didn't learn anything growing up. I took Spanish 2 years in high school. Didn't learn a single thing. Just had fun talking to my friends about things. And so, yeah, I know no Spanish.
For whatever reason, I mean, I don't think I jive with the teacher, but Spanish 2 in high school was extremely difficult for me, man.
That was the best.
It was, I mean, it was confusing, and I'd ask the teacher about certain things, and she'd tell me, and then she'd contradict herself, and then she'd be like, trying to give me the explanation the same way that I didn't understand it. And I'm like, I wanted to like yell at her, but I was trying to be like cordial and reasonable because she would explain something. And it's like, that doesn't make sense. What are you talking about? And it was just so frustrating. Still to this day, man. I'm just like, I wish I could retake those classes.
Still gets mad about that.
Yeah, I still get mad about it because I mean, I think I'm fairly decent with English grammar, and I have like a real like grasp and feel on the English language. I might not speak it that great, but I can tell when something's amiss about 90% of the time. And I think that's kind of my skill set is grammar. That was the thing that came most natural to me. Math, no way.
Math, no for me.
Once we got to a certain point in math, like I guess complex algebra, I couldn't do it. It was weird.
For me, it was
ironically, algebra 2 was the class where you had the T1 line, and I would go and look at Star Wars stuff.
That's why you didn't learn math, because you were too busy looking up Star Wars.
No, it wasn't because of that, but
dude, you know how you said you got math up to a certain point. For me, it was like 4th grade, and then that was that was it, man.
Yeah,
I was in high school. I know, guys, we're gonna talk about Star Wars. I was in high school. I had to go to one of these like places so I can learn math because they were like, "This isn't a foreign language." I was like, "It is to me." Anyways,
it's a language.
I took a test, and they told my mom and dad. I was like a sophomore or junior in high school at this point. They told my mom and dad like he has a 5th grade math level. So story of my life. So but history, English, grammar, Poetry,
Yeah.
but like I am amazing at all that.
History I did okay in, poetry not so much. I had an interest in it,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is like music." It's like it's all kind of like correlated to each other. But the weird thing is that when I would read some poetry, I would think this is so like basic and bland, but it was like so revered, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Huh?" And
That face was great. If you
yeah.
saw that on YouTube, that was amazing. Somebody needs to screenshot that and send that to us, please. That was great.
And kind of the same thing with art too.
I can't draw worth anything.
I have that ability. I have that ability to draw like above average, not
Damn.
spectacularly, but I do have some ability. And I drew some pretty decent stuff. But the thing that I drew that I can't believe that I accomplished was I drew the Nike statue, the goddess with the no head and wings for arms,
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
in chalk and on a black piece of paper, and it came out great. And I told myself I'm going to put as much effort as I possibly can, and I was just going to go overboard on it with the shadows and the because when you draw like a sketch or something, you're drawing in light, but I pressed hard. Whenever something was like solid white, I was pressing so hard with these chalk pencils. And for whatever reason, man, I put my whole soul into this thing. And my art teacher had like this big glass case in the hallway, and she only put the best stuff out there. And when I started art, this is an art two. When I started art one, you would see some spectacular drawings, man. It's like photorealistic stuff with like art pencils. Like I remember some guy drew the bumper of like a 56 Chevy in the chrome. It looked like it was chrome. Like he
That's
took a picture of
gross.
chrome, and she had to tell us, no, that's a drawing. And I think that was another moment for me that was like, wow, that really opened my eyes to the fact that you can actually draw something that's photorealistic. And then you think back to like printers and like computers, and you think back, it correlates to Photoshop with John Knoll. I mean, it's just a bunch of like different colored pixels.
Yeah, just
And then
pixels.
when you look at it from a distance or even close up, depending on how many like pixels you have or just the fine detail in the pencils, it looks real, man. And it's weird. It's really weird. I think there's a TikTok that I'm subscribed to, and I haven't seen one in a while, but he draws in pencil photorealistic sketches of like people and animals, and it's weird, man. It is weird to know that it's not a picture,
Yeah.
but then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, well, that's AI," and well, it was a little bit before AI when I started following this guy. But yeah, what were we talking about?
Star Wars. So here's a good question for you.
Well, here's a question for you, James.
Oh.
Don't forget that question because I'm gonna ask you a question.
All right, here we go.
What degree in Star Wars do you have? Can you tell people you have?
Oh,
if you gotta
no,
measure it by doctorate, master's, bachelor's, associates, some high school,
Some high school
elementary,
GED.
elementary, GED. What do you have, James? What can you confidently tell people? I have this degree in Star Wars education.
So here's the question. When you say Star Wars, do you mean specifically the movies, or do you mean also trivia, behind the scenes stuff, like things that happen in the productions of Star Wars?
When I say Star Wars, I mean Star Wars.
That you didn't answer my
Movie,
question.
film, books, TV, comics. Like, what level of education do you have?
I would say when it comes to the lore of Star Wars, the movies, the some of the books, the shows, I would believe I have a bachelor's in it, because when it
That's what I
comes to
say too.
yeah, when it comes to Clone Wars, when it comes to some of the comic books and everything, some people just have that, and that for me makes them masters because they're going everywhere.
Right.
But if you were to talk about the production side, I may have a master's in Star Wars production.
Okay. That's where I was going next.
Yeah.
So there are subcategories to this. So the original trilogy, I would say I have a master's in the original trilogy.
Me too.
I don't think I have a doctorate anywhere. For a doctorate, you would really have to know a lot of stuff. But the prequels, I would say maybe close to a master's or maybe a master's. The sequels, yeah, maybe high school.
Well, it
But
was so secretive too. We still don't have all the stories from the sequel trilogy yet, so it's kind of hard to.
yeah,
But I went to a Star Wars doctor, but I may have forgot some stuff.
I have forgotten a lot of stuff too. I hate it when on the podcast you say, "What's that name?" and it's on the tip of my tongue, and I know the name. Like if you talk about like the furry pilot with the big ears, there's been a few times I haven't been able to say Jackson the Rabbit.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I forgot his name. Yeah.
And I have his action figure now too, which is super cool.
Oh yeah, that's right. It looks really cool.
It's somewhere around here. Yeah.
But that's a good question. Yeah, I never thought about that. Like what my degree in Star Wars would be. But and then the subcategories, prequels, sequels, and the original trilogy. I know the original trilogy, I can tell you anything and everything about the original trilogy. I can go into crazy detail. Prequels, Bachelors, but I will say the more like the older I get, the more I understand and appreciate the prequels. So they grow on me every single time I watch them, which doesn't make any sense. The movies haven't changed, but every time I watch the prequels, they just get better and better and better. So and the sequels, I love the sequels. Bachelor, I think maybe some high school. You're right, yeah, some high school.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that I've forgotten from the sequels that I will never forget about the original trilogy and the prequels. So what's your question?
Which Star Wars movie do you think you have watched the most?
That's a great question, man.
Because weirdly enough, for every Star Wars fan, there is that one that they have watched more than the others.
It's gotta be A New Hope.
A New Hope?
Yeah. I watched that movie so much that I'm sure me and you, we could write that movie verbatim. And it got to a point where I got sick of it. I couldn't watch it for years and years. I couldn't watch it because I watched it so many times as a toddler. I watched it so many times in elementary school. I would watch it when it would come on TV. It would be on ABC, I think, and NBC too. And of course, that was the greatest movie of all time at that point. And they would show it so much. And then when my parents canceled cable, I'd have to watch movies, and that was one movie that was in the rotation. Yeah, it's got to be A New Hope. I guess after A New Hope, it'd probably be Return of the Jedi, then Empire. Nice. And I would hate to watch Empire because I wanted to get to Return of the Jedi, and I didn't want to skip a movie, so I had to put in Empire. But I was a little kid, and I mean, I know as an adult that Empire is one of the greatest films of all time, probably the greatest Star Wars film, and one of the more miraculous films. And me as an adult, experiencing Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers is my favorite film, and that's like the Empire. That's the middle film, which is ironic, but I think I just kind of put that together right now.
Yeah, dude. How did you not know that? Even I knew that when you first told me. Just kidding. I didn't figure.
Maybe we talked about it. I don't know. Like I said, I've forgotten a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to forget.
Before I answer my own question, with Lord of the Rings, I think Fellowship is my favorite out of the three.
I mean, what is it about those movies, dude?
It was the fact that you had. This is not a dig at any franchise. Don't think I'm digging at Star Wars. It was because you had the singular vision of Peter Jackson just in charge of that whole movie. He knew what he wanted. He knew what he wanted it to look like, how he wanted it to look, and he stuck with that vision. And it shows through all three movies. And it's weird. I know, guys, we'll get back to Star Wars. the more time that passes with Lord of the Rings, the more I'm amazed that it actually did happen, because it feels like today it would never happen. No studio today would ever approve that. And it's weird, but for me, the more time that passes, the more insane it is that we got those 3 movies 3 years back to back. So, and they were all 3 incredible movies. So, that was my Lord of the Rings podcast.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the behind the scenes of that trilogy, you got to take a look at it, man, because it's incredible.
Yeah.
All of them are Star Wars fans. They do visit Skywalker Ranch, and there's a section where Peter Jackson says, "Yep, we went to the ranch. We went there, and they gave us some. They were very open, and they gave us some tips and tricks to do a trilogy. And one of the big things was the animatics. They said, no matter what, you got to do an animatic for your movie. It'll help a lot. And so they did. Very crude animatics at the time, of course. At that time, they were like state of the art. But now when you look at them, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like almost nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
orcs
it was
were
really
huge.
cool that, they visited. And of course, Christopher Lee was Count Dooku in Attack of the Clones, and he was also Saruman and the Lord of the Rings. And I think they asked Christopher Lee a question one time. They were like, what was better, Star Wars or the Lord of the Rings experience? And he sat there for a second to think about it, and then he came up with, well, on Star Wars, I've never experienced that level of craft service.
What
Can you just imagine the craft service on the prequels, dude? Unlimited budget. You're gonna be eating a lobster and shrimp every day.
I want to talk to Rick McCallum about that whole experience, like, because, like I said, the greatest yes man producer in Hollywood, in the history of Hollywood, was Rick McCallum for the prequels. Like, I don't think anyone
on the podcast.
That'd be great. But all right. So for me, the Star Wars movie I've watched the most. So it gets difficult because 4, 5, and 6, when I was growing up, was all on one VHS because my mom pirated them pretty much to a single VHS. So I would watch A New Hope, fast forward through the credits, watch Empire, fast forward through the credits, and watch Return of the Jedi, rewind it all the way back. And so I had all 3 movies in one. So for me, growing up, all 3 movies were I kind of watched equally. So I can't really say to them.
You had them all on one VHS?
Yeah.
Okay. You just switched it on the tape for like 8 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my mother, yeah, she
was there a middle setting for 6 hours? Because you possibly
I don't remember.
Okay.
I mean, I was what, 6, 7 years old. I didn't know how to do that.
They fixed it up for you.
Yeah, when my mom did that type of stuff when I was a kid, I thought she was like the smartest person in the world because it didn't make any sense to me. But I will say I think the one I've watched the most is probably The Phantom Menace. I think is the Star Wars movie I have watched the most because I always go back. I always go back to that one. I'll watch it and it just takes me back to when I was, 10 years old watching this movie. And just and I always put myself in the theater and the hype around that movie. And it's also fun. It's a fun movie. And I think I was obsessed with it when it came out. So I remember watching that one over and over and over again. Yeah.
Incredible. And I mean, I'm 44 years old, so I'm 4 years younger than Star Wars is. So they're going to celebrate their 50th in 2027. I will be, if you do the math, I guess I'll be almost going to be, I'll be 45.
Oh, 45.
Yeah, because my birthday's in August. But it's interesting to have lived during the time of Star Wars because the original trilogy was untouchable.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got Back to the Future that came out. Didn't hear a lot of rumbling about that. People didn't like the third part as much. And I never heard any bad things about part 2, but now as an adult, I hear that part 2 is not good. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Part 2 is my favorite.
Part 2 is my favorite too. Just the kind of speculation on what the future was going to be. I thought that was really cool.
Eh.
The whole, going forward in time, then back, and then it's an alternate timeline. That whole thing, that was so cool. It's the first time I ever even contemplated that possibility, which is great. But then, of course, we had the long drought. I lived through that drought of no live action films until the re-releases in 1997 when I finally got to see Star Wars on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like it is now, guys, where all these multiplexes existed. It was like one theater for maybe like the county seed in your county, and you'd have to travel there. No assigned seats. So even if you did travel there, it might be sold out, that whole thing. And sometimes you call them on the phone and it's just an automated machine telling you what was playing or whatever.
Hello and welcome to Movie Phone.
Yeah, it was a very different time, but the recognition of these films, I think, starting with the prequels, changed throughout the years drastically. And I guess you could say the original trilogy special editions, because when they came out, everyone was like cool with it or just okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple years passed and everyone hated it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did you hate it? And they're like, Jabba the Hutt looks weird. We didn't need to see Naboo at the end. We didn't have to.
That wasn't until 2005. Naboo at the end wasn't until 2005.
I thought they stuck Naboo at the end of Return of the Jedi.
They did, but in 2005, not the 97 special edition.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Or was it Coruscant? I'm thinking about
Coruscant. Yes, Coruscant.
Yeah, when you saw the Palpatine statue fall down, I think people were like, "What is even this place? You know, we never saw it in the original trilogy. Why are they showing it now?" And then they took away Yub Nub. That was the big stickler, I think. I mean, the music has grown on me. It's a John Williams like original score composition. But then, of course, they changed the band song in Jabba's Palace as well. And I used to sing that thing all the time when I was a kid because I'd watch it on VHS and I knew it by heart. And yeah, it kind of like got you in the mood to hang out with all these creatures and aliens, you know? It was just weird. And it spoke to me as a kid. That and the Cantina band, seeing those Cantina creatures pop up, I was like, oh my God, this was like, and like everyone knows, I grew up in a super religious household, but when I saw these aliens and I saw a devil in a bar, I was like, oh my God. I mean, this was like watching something I shouldn't watch, you know?
David was there in front of the band saying, you know, your music saved my life. Like, you know, he was there going, your music saved my life. That was David watching the Cantina band and Jabba's, the Max Rebo band as well. So,
yeah, we can't mention the Max Rebo there for Colin. Good old Colin. He's in
good old Colin.
The Dragon Con.
All right, what's your next question?
My next question. So, in honor of the Dragon Con trivia.
Oh boy.
And name all the pod racers.
There's no way. Don't even joke.
You said you've seen the Phantom Menace the most.
Yeah, but I know Ben Quadranero. I know
the guy that Leia named her son after. Yeah,
Odie Mandel.
Yeah,
Sebulba.
Good.
Anakin Skywalker. I cannot remember anymore.
Yeah, I don't know them either.
Okay.
But I've seen them all before. So added after the fact, I guess at this last tinkering, I guess with like right before McClunky was added to the originals. There's Clegg Holdfast. And how could you forget Dud Bolt? I mean, come on.
Very easily, apparently. I forgot him.
There is Bull's Roar, which I'm like, huh?
There's kids listening, all right? Calm down. Gosh, David, this is a family podcast.
I said bowls.
You can't just be saying stuff like that.
Gasgano. How could you forget Gasgano?
Very easily.
Mars Guo, the guy that has the goggles on, like really long net, and he goes, "Arr!"
Oh, the one he gets the wrench in the
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Rats Tyrell, the alien with the wife and all the little
Oh,
kids.
that's him. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Ark Roos. He's a Nucknog. Mahonic. He's a Gran. He's the alien with the 3 protruding eyes.
Mm.
You said Odie Mandrell, but I think you said Mandel. It's Mandrell.
Not Howie Mandel, but Odie Mandrell. Yeah.
Ebby E. Endicott.
Is that the... Nope, I have no idea.
He's a Triffian. Temtu Pagalis. He's a Vecnoid. Elan Mack. He's a Flugrian. Juan Sandedge. He's a Devlik.
You're just making these names up. None of these are in Star Wars. You're just making this
Bazi Baranta.
Yeah.
Jen Riso.
Jen Urso? What did you say?
Jen Riso.
Oh, okay.
Very close to Jen Urso, but
Jen
no.
Urso, yeah.
Fode, those announcers.
Oh.
Fud Sang. Slide Paramita.
That's crazy. You know what's crazy? Somebody came up with names for all of them. Like someone came up with names for all of those pod racers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh, man. And just take a moment to acknowledge the fact that the pod racing was so hyped up for the promo of episode 1.
That was the first image we got in the trailer, or the second image after the Gungans on there.
Like that was... Imagine not watching the prequels and only watching 4, 5, and 6, and you see that image. It was unreal what that part of the story was. Like what? And it's weird to think because now we've seen the prequels, we know the whole story, we've seen all 9 movies, but the fan theories and just the thought process behind seeing stuff like that in 1998, 1999 was unreal. Like just. Like, why are they racing in the desert? Who is racing in the desert? Like, why? Like, oh man, it was, and then you see I think you got a picture of the Anakin, the child wearing the helmets. You're like, oh, he's the one racing these things, and man, it was crazy seeing that image.
Child.
Yep. And I thought he was Luke when I first saw the trailer. I missed a little bit, but when I first saw it, I thought that was Luke Skywalker.
How old were you in 99?
Well, I saw the trailer in 98, so I was probably like 9 or 10. I was 10 when I saw the movie in 99. So
yeah, I was way older than you.
But I was the crazy kid in school that was just insanely hyped for this movie. Like I was losing my mind.
Joseph Floyd on YouTube says, I did enjoy the Pod Racer game. Wonder what it would be like if it was remade. I think they remastered it for the Wii, right?
Kind of. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Zach has to go to work. May the force be with you.
And then, of course, he adds long time. Oops,
yeah.
Sorry. I'll let you do it. But, but yeah, it was kind of cleaned up, but not really. They could do so much more with that race. Like if they were to ever do a pod racing game, like that would just look amazing with today's graphics.
And of course the Mandalorian visited that same racetrack area.
Mm-hmm. And then did you know it was Beggars Canyon before that?
No, I don't think
okay, thank you, because I remember when I heard it, it was like Colin was like, yeah, that's Beggars Canyon, and I was just like, oh, he said it as if it was like knowledge, like common knowledge that's what that was.
So I want to say Colin maybe has a doctorate in episode 1.
Oh no, he does. He definitely has in the prequels. No, hands down, he does. But yeah, I'm glad I wasn't the only one who didn't put that together until Mandalorian, until 2020 or 2021. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 2021. I think
but
it was the year.
But yeah, the pod racing was. What was interesting was I didn't appreciate the pod racing until years later. For me and a lot of other people going in episode 1, you just wanted to see Darth Maul. Like Darth Maul was like the key to everything for me, was to see him and his double-edged lightsaber. Like that was the hype for me.
Yeah.
So
When I saw that for the first time, I was like, yeah, that's not even possible. You'll just cut yourself all up. But if you just handle it the right way, you're good.
and you get a martial artist, and that was the crazy thing was, we had a professional world-renowned swordsman doing Vader in Empire and Return of the Jedi. But then flash forward to 90, 96, 97, 98, when they shot the movie, you had a martial artist in the role as the villain. So you're watching the villain do things you never thought in Star Wars. So yeah, for the longest time, it was all about Darth Maul, finding the Darth Maul action figure, getting the Mountain Dew Darth Maul bottle. And then once I got older, I watched the pod racing, and it just had a whole new like feel to it. So yeah, Maul is the GOAT when it comes to Sith, in my opinion. Kind of excited for his own series. And yeah, thank you to Dave Filoni and George Lucas for bringing back Maul. I mean,
and Maul, there's a cookie jar.
Yep, mine's at my dad's house, and same one, the same exact one. I have that one at my dad's house. I used to hide all my love notes when I was in high school and junior high.
I thought I lost this thing for good. My mom stored it in our attic in South Texas, and it warped.
Oh no!
And I was able to bring it down and just kind of mold it back. It was still hot. I molded it back, and I just left it out, and it reshaped itself.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful story, man.
I got lucky, and I bought it at a flea market too. I saw that sitting there. I was like, "Oh my god, I've never seen this before." I was like, "Is this like a custom thing?" And then no, it's a cookie jar that was produced officially by Lucasfilm.
Yeah. Someone said, remember Darth Maul at Disney's during Star Wars weekends? Yeah, he would be up on the stage dancing really, really well. If I remember. Him and Boba Fett, man, they could.
So interesting that they did that. Had all the Star Wars characters dance. They hired professional dancers.
Well, you hire martial artists. Dancers not too far away, so might as well. But so whose turn is it? Is it my turn to ask you a question? Or is it your turn to ask me a question?
No, it's your turn to ask me a question.
Oh, because you asked me about the pod racing.
Pod racer, yeah.
All right. What? And I already know the answer, I think. But what Star Wars moment do you go back and watch again just to get chills? Like when you want to feel good about something, like you're like, oh, I want to see something really cool. What's the moment you go back to in Star Wars that makes you go, yes? John
Williams. No, I'm just kidding, James.
You're good. That was good. That was really good. Thank you so much for saying that.
Call back from years and
years ago. Yep.
So these days, thankfully, the internet exists and people make like sizzle reels. And I want to say there's a particular sizzle reel that somebody made that gets me really hyped up. And I even downloaded the song they use because it feels like it'd be something that would like play at Star Wars Celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And that would get the crowd hyped up. And he made a really good video that even has like solo stuff in it. Now you can actually see videos with like a lot of Mandalorian stuff in it, Ahsoka stuff in it, of course, because you have live action Clone War stuff. So the Maul Qui-Gon Kenobi fight always got me hyped up. And this is what I would do. I would turn the volume down and I would play my own selected music on my boombox.
Yeah.
And I would put it to that and I would watch it and I would time it just right. I would listen to Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit. And I would time it just right when Kenobi came out to fight Maul after he just like stuck Qui-Gon. And oh my gosh, dude, it is so great.
That segment of Kenobi coming out to fight Maul is like the most, like for me, that's the climax of the movie, is that section right there.
Right.
Everything else after it is great. But for me, this is what the whole movie comes up to, is that little moment between Obi-Wan and Maul.
And I mean, that's what we were waiting for almost like 20 years, to see something like that. And we got it. We saw a Jedi fighting a Sith in their full teachings of Sith and Padawan, Jedi Academy, and high speed.
It was everything. And then Qui-Gon punches Darth Maul in the lightsaber fight. Like that was nuts. We saw Vader kick Luke, I think, or Luke kicks Vader. But then we see this and we're like, whoa, like he's kicking him over here. He's doing a flip. He's spinning and then you got Maul and you got Qui-Gon punching Maul in the face and him falling down. And then it was everything. Like that fight. That's a good answer, David. That's a really good answer.
The other I want there's two more, man. There's two more.
Do it.
There's two more. So thankfully for the internet, you get to see them a lot now.
Yeah.
More so the Rogue One space battle.
Oh, yeah.
My God, man. I keep on saying every time Lucasfilm needs to take that and make that into a movie, which could have been Rogue Squadron.
Mm-hmm.
But you bottle that up and you make it a movie somehow, have a beginning battle, middle battle, ending battle, and then like all that in between is just like the talking stuff.
So that space battle in Rogue One, I didn't know there was going to be a space battle until a week before the movie came out. They hid it.
You hadn't seen trailers or anything?
No, I saw you got to remember, they really never showed the space battle in the trailer. Like it was, even if they did, it felt like it was a quick shot of a ship flying and it looked like a normal something. Like it was mostly the characters, the running around, the explosions on the ground, the fight, the battle on the beach. I remember seeing a lot of the beach stuff.
Running with the hard drive and the AT-AT in the background.
Yeah. And for me, that was perfect. For me, I was like, this is the movie because it's the guy sneaking into the base. Like that was my brain at that point was perfectly fine with the fact it was them sneaking into a military base, an imperial base to steal the plans. And then I remember like a week before the movie came out, they released a TV spot. And that's when they showed all the TIE fighters flying out of the station. And I was like, oh, what is this? And then they started showing more images. And then that's when I was like, oh, we're going to get a good space battle. And we got a space battle. Like we got a really, really good, probably the second best space battle in all Star Wars. And yeah, that's a good one. Them coming out of hyperspace.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful, man.
Good grief, man. That is, yeah, you're right. That is great.
Just perfection on screen.
So what's that third one?
It's the space battle in Return of the Jedi. in concert with Luke fighting Vader as well. And Ewoks.
Yep.
Going full ham on the Empire.
You pointed a cut out to me. I remember it's the 3 tree branches exploding during the fight.
Yeah, and you see like toothpicks.
3. And then at that third one, it cuts to the Falcon flying in space, and I was like, that is and you were like, look at this cut right here, and I was like, you're right, that is exciting as hell, man. Like that was,
oh my gosh,
the pacing
of that. Be there, 1983, seeing that for the first time in a full audience. I'd never seen anything like that before. And then, CGI did not exist, bro. Those were all models.
Yeah, it was all models flying toward the camera, or cameras flying toward models, and they made it work. They made it look.
Oh man, it looks kind of like CGI
now. It does, yeah. But at the time,
unbelievable achievement.
Agreed. And of course, I hate to say it because everybody makes a joke about it, but it's a trap. Like the music building up to that moment, bump, 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 and then the big reveal, and then how it builds up, and all the ships are turning around, and they're like, we're spotting.
And then they do the call signs, bro.
Yep,
the call signs.
Set as spoils and attack position, they all open up.
I thought we were gonna get that in Rise of Skywalker, where we're gonna have all kinds of call signs. We could have Hera. And Sabine in there. Oh my god, what an Easter egg.
Then they would have had to have recast them if they did that. Like those people would not have been in the movie. Like they would not have been in.
Or they could have just done the voices.
The voices would have been nice. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, we could go to so many different people and aliens and creatures flying stuff and Hera checking in. I mean, they could have got the Rebels cast to do it. You know?
I mean, they already had Ahsoka. They already had Ashley.
They had Freddie Prinze do Kanan's voice.
So, man, you're right.
It writes itself, James.
And Joseph, David just the ghost was in Rise of Skywalker. The ghost is also in Rogue One, and
Chopper was there.
So for me, you said 3. I'm going to say 3. I know we're going kind of late, everybody, but we're just having some fun here. Can I say a show or no? I'm not. I have
Yeah.
to say the movies. Okay.
No, James, that's against the rules. Our boss, our overlord, is gonna get you in trouble.
Every monologue in Andor gets one of those things. No, I like to go back and watch Marva's the walk during the funeral of Marva's funeral.
Marva's speech, Luke
That
and Leel's speech.
That build up is amazing. But that's not even. But I'm gonna put Andor in its own thing. But one of the scenes that I go back and watch all the time is from Rebels, and it's Mon Mothma's speech after the Gorman massacre, which we see in Andor. And she's talking to everybody to unite all those the rebellion, different armies into one rebellion. And then she gets done with her speech, and they're looking out into space like, is anyone going to show up? And then you see the Tantive 4 come out of hyperspace, and then you see more ships coming out of hyperspace to join. And then she says, "This is our rebellion." And then the music swells to the main theme, bum, 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 bum. And then you see more ships coming out of hyperspace. That's a great moment for me. That's one of the moments I go back and watch, and I'm like, I love Star Wars. Yoda versus Dooku, like that is a fight I will go back and watch.
I love seeing the Anakin 2-sabered attack on Dooku, but then it ends quickly though.
It's weird how quick it was. Almost like Lucas it was like, okay, we got to get to the Yoda fight. Like we have to finish this thing off soon, and because I've often, and then there's a part in the fight where where Dooku has two lightsabers fighting, and anyways, the Yoda and Dooku fight, and then controversial, I know, but the entire crate battle in The Last Jedi is the whole, starting from the crate battle to the very end of that movie it's just incredible. Mark Hamill's performance to Adam Driver I'm like, good grief, this is amazing. And then the Falcon showing up, you see the shadow flying over. I was like, this is great. So that's another one.
And there is a reprisal of, I'm gonna use a lot of big words here. There's a lot of uncommon words. There is a John Williams reprisal of the bellicose music that he used in A New Hope when they went up against the TIE fighters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like anytime I hear that, I get excited. And man, freaking Solo did that.
Remaster that. What? Because when you try and listen to the remaster from the original soundtrack, it sounds old and a little muffled. And I wanted to get me hyped up more, and I wanted that at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. I will say this: if you go to Disneyland when they have Hyperspace Mountain, that's the song playing during the ride. It just
oh my god, dude, that's
hits
perfect.
All the great like marks, man, because you see the images of the TIE fighters, you hear them, you hear Akbar talking, and you just hear bum 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 bum, and I'm like, I just have the biggest smile on my face because I'm like, this is Star Wars. Like I am in Star Wars right now, flying, and the wind is hitting me, and I'm in a spaceship. Like it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful moment. But yeah, those are my top 3 like moments I go back and watch in Star Wars, and just gets me really, really excited. It just falls in love with Star Wars even more every time.
Yeah. Who's your favorite character, James?
Oh man, this might have to be the last question. Who's my favorite character? That's hard, dude, because there's so many incredible characters in Star Wars, man. Like this is
all right. Well, let me ask you a different question.
Can I get thank you, because I was gonna say, can I get 5, 10? Okay.
Name all the characters that handle a lightsaber in the original trilogy.
That's a horrible question to ask, but it's Obi-Wan, Luke, Vader, and Han Solo.
Bingo.
And he doesn't ignite it, but Sidious does hold Luke's lightsaber, just saying. And so does the Imperial Guard.
But the bachelors are showing off there.
Yeah, I mean, but no, the wielders of the lightsaber, would be Kenobi, Vader, Luke, and Han Solo.
Take your weapon and strike me down.
Strike me down with it.
I didn't get that when I was watching that as a little kid. I was like, why does he want him to kill him?
It's pretty deep and heavy. And then when you get older, you're like, Jesus, like this is pretty dark and twisted. What's going on here?
But then, of
And-
course, when he does try and strike him, Vader parries it, and then
Yep.
it's like, oh, okay, Palpatine knew that Vader was gonna be like his
So
brother.
it was. I've heard the rumor Vader did it to stop Luke, not to not kill him, but so that he doesn't fall down the path.
Ah, yeah.
I've
Yeah.
heard that's theory a lot. That's why Vader stops Luke. And
See, there's so much depth and so many levels of Star Wars you just don't
and that
think
fight,
about
man,
sometimes, but you can.
that fight has such an emotional, like,
And then when
undertone.
Luke does the backflip, he has the high ground, and then
Yep.
then Vader says, "Obi-Wan has taught you well." And how does that work so perfectly?
Yeah.
You know?
And then,
And
yeah,
then
then he
Vader don't
walks.
attempt to jump with there. He just chunks the saber.
Yep. Oh, that was. It's almost like Vader learned, like, I should have just thrown the lightsaber at him, distracted him, then I could have jumped up. Anyways,
Yeah.
but yeah, that whole fight, and then Vader realizing that there's a sister, because he himself never saw it until that moment, and then Luke furiously attacking him, chopping off his hand, and then that moment of realization of looking at his own mechanical hand and looking at his father's, it is like, oh, he's like, I am going that path, and perfect, just perfect. Yeah, it's a good moment. We didn't that was no question. We just went off on Return of the Jedi right there. And how great
I
that
asked you
ending is.
who handled the lightsaber in the
Yeah, I
original
know.
trilogy, and then we started riffing on.
Return of the Jedi, because you're right. The ending of that movie is so great. It's that whole middle and beginning I don't care about.
Okay, so let me ask you this: what's
Oh,
a
boy.
trivia question? Even though it's probably the opposite person's turn, but what is a trivia question for Star Wars? Do you think not a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans get right?
Oh man, that's difficult, dude.
I think it's the one I just asked you. Who handles a lightsaber?
I feel like everybody would get that one. Now, if you said who handles a lightsaber in the prequels, then yeah, nobody would get that, because you have a ton of Jedi during episode 2, during episode 3 as well. That it's too hard to. I don't know, man. I have to think about that one. That one's a heavy question. What's up with you and all these heavy questions at the very end, man? Come on.
You have a bachelor's.
but I can't. Which clone troopers made it all the way through all 7 seasons? And
where's Colin when you need him?
What was that?
Where's Colin when you need him?
Exactly. So that would be one, and then but then that's also tricky because not everyone has watched the Clone Wars, so that would be kind of an unfair question, because you have some people who are hardcore Star Wars fans who've never seen Clone Wars, which is fine, but it's just they don't have their knowledge there, but they can probably tell you about the movies and everything. So I don't know. That's a good question.
What's Darth Maul's brother's name?
Technically, it's not his real brother, but we're gonna say Savage, because he would always call him brother, but brother in sense of same tribe.
Clancy
Brown. That guy's great, man.
Yeah,
he's such a cool guy. I don't know. I don't have any other.
So yeah, I was gonna say LA Comic-Con is coming up. Who is the Star Wars guest list? Do you know?
Who I know. The only one I know is Giancarlo Esposito is going to be there.
I
think.
Interesting.
Or is he not? I don't know. Now I don't know. Now you put me on the spot.
It's in 25 days. It is officially this month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not yet.
Well, we got quite a few, man.
What do we got? Who's all going to be there?
So, starting off with, and I'm just scrolling through here. I just saw some. So David Tennant's going to be there. Huyang. I would love to get his auto. Paul Bettany's going to be there. He's also going to be at SpaceCon in San Antonio. And those are kind of like the headliners. I don't think. Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard is going to be there.
Mm.
I knew that. I don't know why I forgot that. I want to take a chunk of my. Finish the sentence, James. I
I
want to take a
don't know,
chunk
man.
of my Razor Crest for her to sign
Nice.
because, of
Yeah,
course,
because she destroyed it and beautifully in Mando. So
yeah, she crashed it into that one planet. Also, I think that's actually it as far as Star Wars goes.
are you gonna do it? Are you doing it?
Maybe we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how hard. Finish that sentence, James.
I man, come on.
We'll see how hard you guys beg me to go.
We already really want you to be here.
Colin Weaver has chimed in and he says that one of the hardest trivia questions to answer is how many limbs does Mac Rebo have? And Colin obviously thinks the answer is 4 limbs, but there's many out there that say 2.
But technically he has 4 because he has feet and hands.
Well, when he was designed with the legs
that's
as his
right.
hands. So
Yeah, Phil Tippett. Was it Phil Tippett or Joe Johnston that grew him with the 2 legs?
I think it was Tippett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that'd be a cool dude to meet. But anyways. Yeah.
You live in the same city or the same area, James?
I don't know where it's in the same area, but it's also a pretty big area. Okay. Like, I mean, you know, what's weird. The other day, I know we're gonna get out of here, but the other day I had to take someone up to the Hollywood Hills and it was only 5 minutes away from where I live, which it's really weird to think because you see those houses and you're like, oh, look at those beautiful houses. I'm like, they're just right there. I can just walk there if I wanted to. But anyways, when you come and visit, David, I will take you to the Hollywood Hills.
Nice. Why do I have a feeling that John Bernthal is eventually going to end up in a Star Wars?
A Star Wars?
Yeah.
Good chance. Seems like a guy who would probably.
He's a Punisher in Marvel.
Yeah, and
he's in a lot of stuff. Walking Dead, Fury. Uh-oh. I said Fury, not Siri. Okay. Siri.
He's been in a lot of good like projects too. So
what?
He was in he's been in a few Taylor Sheridan movies.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he was in Sicario too.
Yeah, he gets a wet willy by Benicio del Toro, which is a weird form of torture, but Benicio del Toro made it look very, very dangerous and scary.
Yeah, Benicio del Toro too. Yeah, he should be in a Star Wars.
He should be in a Star Wars movie. Yeah. I'm still mad.
He says my favorite line of all time, and it's in The Last Jedi.
What is it?
Where, man, I forget the question they ask him, but he turns around and the camera zooms in and he goes, maybe.
Oh, they were like,
oh yeah, this line, James.
But yeah, it's like,
were you always on the other side or something like that? I think
something to that effect.
Yeah,
and that delivery, maybe.
And then the camera zooms in and he goes, maybe.
Man, Benicio del Toro. He was my top pick for the Emperor in Dune. Whenever they were going to do the Dune Part 2, I was like, Benicio del Toro would be a great Emperor. But anyways,
he was the original Khan for J.J. Abrams.
Yeah,
and then
that would have. He was. You know what else he was? He was the original Darth Maul.
Yeah,
he was the original Darth Maul.
That's the trivia question, bro.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. We got it. Who was originally supposed to be Darth Maul in Episode 1? It wasn't Ray Park, and he was in it until like I forget which draft it was, where Lucas took all of Maul's like dialogue out. And that's when Benicio del Toro said no.
And I'll say this too, and I'll reward all the listeners that listen to this point. If you come up to our table in San Antonio for SpaceCon and you tell me that Benicio del Toro was originally supposed to play Darth Maul, I'll give you a free item from our wheel, from the wheel spin. So it could be a Funko Pop, an action figure, a really cool DK encyclopedia. So tell me, and I'll let you pick whatever you want.
It has to be the first person. It can't just be anybody.
All these people. You think how many people are listening to us? They're going to be
exactly. So it has to be the first person to tell David. Maybe the first 3. we'll give out some toys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Do that and remind me. I might forget by then. But this is all the way to the end of the podcast. We're about to end it. So
yeah,
tell me Benicio del Toro. You can even just say Benicio del Toro and just say, hey, dude, you owe me something now.
yeah. I'll remind you.
Podcast.
I will remind you when we get closer to it. So,
Yeah.
well,
The
everybody,
password is Benicio del Toro.
everybody, thank you so much for listening and for those in chat for talking to us. Yeah, this was just a hangout, David and I. We do this. Sometimes we talk on the phone, and after a while, we're like, we should probably be recording this. Like, why are we not recording this conversation? Because
the last couple of phone calls with Colin, we just started talking about Star Wars, and Colin was like, "Why aren't we recording this?" He's like yelling at us.
Yeah,
why aren't we recording this?
Yeah, that's right. We're not going to talk about the subject, but we were talking about Star Wars and we got into it, and then we were like, "Oh, we should probably be recording." So, this is just a look into what David and I talk about on a day-to-day basis. So, thank you so much for joining us. And
find us out there.
Yes, do what you got
on the interwebs, social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, Patreon, of course. Support us out there.
Yes.
TikTok, email, Facebook. Write us a review, 5 stars.
5 stars.
Listen
please.
to us.
And tell everybody who you share about us. We actually enjoy Star Wars. We love Star Wars.
Yeah. As you can kind of tell. I mean,
as you can tell, we're not the podcast that hates on Star Wars. We still find cool moments in every single movie. It's all Star Wars and we love it. So that's one thing I like about this is we're just a bunch of huge fans that love talking about it. So, and we appreciate you joining us on that.
Yeah. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. We're fans just like you. So yeah, whatever you want to talk about, comment. You can comment on Spotify too. Most of the comments are really off the wall and strange, but maybe, like I love that one comment. Shorten up the podcast. I don't have a lot of time. You want us to do like 7-minute podcasts or something? I mean,
maybe we have to do the Reader's Digest versions of the podcast here pretty soon.
Yeah, hurry up, guys. I don't have a lot of time. Make them shorter.
Right. We'll do that. We'll work on that, everybody. But again, thank you so much for listening. And on behalf of David, my name is James, and may the force be with you.
Always. We have friends everywhere.
Ooh.
This is the way.
This is the way.
We have spoken.
We have spoken.
With fireworks. Oh my gosh. Pew pew.